Hi, I'm Clare and welcome to the Taste Kitchen by Aldi. With Christmas around the corner, I've designed a show-stopping dessert that makes a fantastic alternative to Christmas pudding. My Christmas wreath, baked Alaska, not only tastes great, it makes a brilliant centerpiece for your Christmas table. To make our baked Alaska like a Christmas wreath, we've got one of these, which is a savarin mould, and you're going to need to start by cutting this out. So you've got to draw around the ring, and again in the centre. And then once you've cut that out, you'll be left with your ring shape, and we're going to use that later to cut out the sponge. Then take your mould again, a dab of oil around the inside to grease it, and then you want to get a few sheets of cling film, lay them on top and just press them inside, and this is ready to put your ice cream in. I filled up my mould with all the ice cream, there's 2 tubs in there, and then you just got to pop this in the freezer and you can get on and make your sponge. So my eggs are all cracked in here, so I'm going to add my sugar and the orange zest. So the eggs and sugar, which are in here now, need heating over a bain-marie. So basically you just need to get a saucepan with a small amount of water in the bottom, and the trick is to make sure you don't let the bottom of your bowl touch the water. Then just pop it on top, and the best thing for this is an electric whisk. And start whisking now until the liquid gets to about a warm bath temperature before it gets too hot, and then you can take it off and finish whisking it just on the side. Okay, so that is perfect now, and if you look, when you lift up the beaters and you move it backwards and forwards, you get a sort of ribbon that sits on top, and it'll take a few seconds to drop back into the liquid, and that means it's ready to go. And then from then you just need to add your dry ingredients. Got our cocoa powder and flour, which I've already sifted together so they can go straight in. And also add in your butter. And then with a nice big metal spoon, you basically want to fold in these ingredients. And the trick here is you really don't want to knock the air out because you've just incorporated all that air with the beaters. So you really want to quite carefully just keep turning the bowl, sort of scraping the outside as you go. Okay, so all my flour's folded in now, so the mix is ready to go into my pan, and I've pre-lined this with some baking paper at the bottom, and I've greased the outside as well to make sure I can get it out later. So this is ready for the oven now, and I've preheated it to 180 degrees, and it should take about half an hour, but check it maybe 5 minutes or so before. Just use a skewer to check that the centre's done, and when it comes out clean, that you know the sponge is ready. So my cake is out of the oven and it's been cooling for a few minutes, and I've laid the tracing paper of the savarin mould on top, and I've popped a few cocktail sticks just to keep it in place. Now with the knife you can cut out the centre of the cake, and then what you want to do is try and push out the middle, so it's probably easiest to do this from underneath. Here is my ice cream in my savarin mould that I made earlier, and it's now ready to be placed on top of the sponge, and then we're going to flip that over. Now turn over the whole thing, take your rack out the way, and you can just sort of press your sponge in so that it fits nicely. The sponge is fitted in, and now I'm just going to stab it all the way around so that when you pour the syrup in, it helps it soak right into the sponge. So with a pastry brush, you can apply the syrup all the way around on the sponge. So with my sponge and ice cream now in the freezer, setting up, I'm just making my sugar syrup, and this is going to go into my egg white to make the Italian meringue. So I'm just heating this up to about 121 degrees, and then I'm going to pour it really slowly into the egg white while it's whisking. My meringue's done, all the sugar syrup's in, and it's formed like nice strong peaks, so you can get it into your piping bag ready. If you grab your piping bag, and obviously if you aren't too confident with your piping skills, you can just spatula it on instead, that's no problem. And then basically you want to start piping. I'm going to do some sort of rosettes all the way around. Okay, so I've finished piping and covered all of the ice cream and the sponge, and now you've got a couple of options. You can either pop it in the oven for a few minutes at about 200 degrees to brown the top, or because this is Italian meringue, which means we've already cooked the egg white, we can just use a blowtorch and just torch the top, and then it's ready to serve. I think you'll agree that once dressed, this is a real Christmas showstopper and definitely worth the effort. Happy baking.